The next item on the agenda is, over the last several weeks, we, the York91 Patriots, have been engaged in a controversy over the viewing of the movie Agenda and the events that transpired afterwards. Brief synopsis of what happened. Actually, how many people were at the viewing of the movie? So we had quite a few people here. There were 85 people at the viewing, which was a good turnout. We actually had two guests there that we didn't expect, and I'll get into that in a little bit. A brief synopsis of what happened. We sent out a press release, an email blast, and a phone blast prior to the date of the viewing. And in brief, basically a press release stated, movie night, when? September 15th, 7 p.m. Where? The Holiday Inn, Holidome, 2000 Laux Road, York. What? A free viewing of the Agenda, Grinding America Down. The powerful, award-winning documentary explores the history of the progressive movement in the United States and how we, the people, have allowed the progressive movement to flourish. The movie will be followed by an exploration of our own representative's voting record, which serves as proof that his voting tendencies support a progressive agenda. Why? We must know our history and understand the progressive agenda so we can defeat it. What can I do? Join us, bring a friend. That was the press release. That went out on a phone blast, it went out on an email blast, and it was sent to the newspaper. On September 15th, we hosted a viewing of the documentary Agenda, which details the history and implementation of a progressive socialist agenda in America. Congressman Platts attended this viewing. We did not have prior knowledge that he would be attending. He arrived at approximately 7:05 and took a seat 2 rows from the front. His chief of staff, Bob Riley, arrived at approximately 7:20 and took a seat in the back. After the presentation, we presented our own congressman's voting record for the purpose of showing that his votes dovetailed with the agenda presented in the movie. At the conclusion of the presentation, Congressman Platts raised his hand and stated that he guessed he would not have an opportunity to comment on our allegations. I politely told him that before the movie presentation, I stated that the movie would be 1 hour and 40 minutes in length, and the presentation on his voting record would be 20 minutes, and I would like to end the evening at 9 p.m., and we do not have time. Also understand, we have an open invitation to all our representatives, state and federal. If they would like to address the meeting, all they have to do is contact us and get on the agenda. Another fact that was lost is Congressman Platts was at our August meeting and spoke for an hour and a half in defense of his record. My one question is, why do you have to defend your record if you're voting in accordance with your constituents' wishes? Wouldn't your vote stand on its merits alone? After the meeting, our congressman approached me and suggested we were violating an FEC regulation, spending over $1,000 to advocate for the removal of a federal congressman. The following day, the congressman personally called me at home, left a message. I was up at the Republican State Committee meeting. My wife Leanne called me and told me that Congressman Platts left a message, so I called him back. And when I called him back, he guided me to the website to show me the FEC regulation that he believed we violated, and he said he was correct in his assumption the evening before. As you might have read, there was quite a bit of coverage of this in the local newspapers. I'd like to set the record straight on some issues tonight. Number one, Congressman Platts was not a victim of a broadside attack. He stated in one story that he thought he was attending a regularly scheduled monthly meeting. This could not be further from the truth. He knew what the agenda of the evening was to be. Number two, Congressman Platts has had ample time to speak at our meetings. He can come to any of our meetings and speak as long as he gives us some ample warning and we can get him into the agenda. Number three, we did not call Congressman Platts a communist or a useful idiot. We presented how his voting record dovetails with the progressive ideals brought forth in the movie. Number four, the entire story turned into the York91 Patriots calling Congressman Platts a communist and a useful idiot. Really? Sensationalism does grab headlines, I guess. What became lost in the hysteria was the fact that Congressman Platts' voting record does not coincide with the values and principles of the vast majority of his constituents. What is lost in the story is that our congressman, on many occasions, votes to spend your money on foolish legislation and does not vote constitutionally. What is lost in the story is the fact that this congressman threatened us with a constitutionally illegal FEC regulation that he himself voted for and put in place. Where's the fact that we did not even violate the regulation in the first place? We have been scrutinized, criticized, lied about, insulted, and demeaned by the press in the 19th District constituency, and some of our own membership included. Does this concern us? No, not in the least. What concerns us is that our congressman that actually votes for legislation we know is crippling this nation's economy does not suffer the same scrutiny. He has by and large been given a free pass here in the 19th District. We aim to end that. When Congressman Platts' voting record is shown to his constituents in a clear and concise manner, the evidence is indisputable. I need you to ask yourselves why we are here tonight. Why is there a Tea Party movement? What is its purpose? Had the Republican Party stood up to its principles, would we be gathering here in this hotel this evening? The purpose of this group, of this movement, in Pennsylvania and nationally, is to return this nation to a nation of endless opportunity, not a nation crippled by debt and regulation. To return the government to its rightful place, a notch below the people, to restore integrity and a bright future for America. We will not do this by continuing to support those that compromise the standards by the framers of our Constitution. I would like to end with two quotes and a bit of advice. First quote is, find out just what the people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. And these will continue until they are resisted with either words or blows or with both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. And that was spoken by Frederick Douglass, civil rights activist, August 4th, 1857. The second quote is, good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. It is hardly too strong to say that the Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters. And that was spoken by Daniel Webster. The only way we will stop the Arlen Specters, the Lindsey Grahams, the John McCains, and the Todd Platzes from compromising your values is to let the party know these candidates will no longer be tolerated. Thank you very much. That was a statement I wanted to read. Something about redstate.com, the blog, the conservative blog. And I had an opportunity to read this while some of our guests were speaking. And I'd really like to take 5 minutes to read this to you because we're not crazy wacko kooks who have it in for Todd Platts. This is a conservative, a national conservative writing this article. Please sit here and listen to this because it just hits home. He was elected in 2000 and is serving in his 6th term in Congress. He is pathetic on education issues and school choice reforms in particular. He voted in favor of No Child Left Behind and earlier this year was one of only 4 Republicans to oppose reinstating opportunity scholarships for poor children in D.C. He is a restrictor of free speech. He supported McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform, along with 527 reform a few years later. He even opposed a bipartisan bill to ensure that campaign finance laws would not apply to bloggers. He is a defender of seemingly every liberal spending program, including the National Endowment of Arts, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Amtrak, Head Start, AmeriCorps, the National School Lunch Program, the Legal Services Corporation, etc. He is serial reauthorizer of fare subsidies, highway subsidies, and energy subsidies. He is profoundly unserious about cutting spending. He voted to earmark funds for Kentucky's tourism industry, the D.C. Metro system, a national mule and packers museum, researching the genetic makeup of grapes, the Bronx Council of Arts, etc. He consistently votes against the conservative budgets offered by the Republican Study Committee, in parentheses, with one exception, which must have been a mistake. He opposed comprehensive reforms to the budget and spending process designed to limit government rather than expand it, probably because they were opposed vigorously by the appropriators. He voted for the Medicare prescription drug benefit and the expansion of S-chip, and voted to block the Bush administration from controlling Medicaid spending. And in this age where every Republican tries to outdo each other on repeal of Obamacare, he voted to expand one of its grant programs earlier this year in 2011. He is a regulator. He voted for Sarbanes-Oxley and led the effort for higher CAFE standards on cars and trucks. He voted to overregulate credit card companies so that they increase costs on consumers. And before it was fashionable to drill, baby, drill, he opposed lifting the moratorium on drilling in the Outer Continental Shelf. He was one of only 3 Republicans who voted for all 6 in 06 priority bills of the new Democrat majority in 2007, increasing the minimum wage, adding price controls in Medicare, Democrat pay-go, etc. And of course, he voted to massively increase the nation's debt limit by $1 trillion this past summer with virtually nothing exchanged for it. He currently has a 52% on Heritage Action's scorecard. He represents a district that is currently a +12 GOP district. George W. Bush and John McCain won the district convincingly, as did Tom Corbin in 2010. To give you a sense for how conservative that is, Jeff Flake's district is +15 GOP, and Mike Pence's district is +10 GOP. Meet Todd Platts. He represents Pennsylvania's 19th district, and he needs to be primaried. This is not from us. This is from a national conservative blogger. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.